Dinner tomorrow night? Sure, I don't have any plans. I'll see you there, Mr. Sawyer. In other news, the serial killer known only as LaughTrack Jack was executed today at 9 a.m. for his many crimes against his fellow man. For his final meal, he only requested a serving of chicken. Before he was given lethal injection, Jack spoke his final words. Jack stated that his death would not be the end, and that he would be seeing us all again very soon, perhaps indicating some sort of deal with the devil himself.
Hey, great! You made it! You ready for dinner?
Yeah, but I must warn you, I'm a picky eater.
Oh, don't worry. We're gonna take real good care of you. Right this way!
I swear on my life, a full-on fanfiction about how she actually survived.
Really? That's embarrassing!
I know! I mean, Jesus Christ.
Seriously? Are you joking?
I swear on my life.
Please help me. Please.
With what?
Ugh.
Today we'll be continuing the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise. The next installment is one of my favorites.
Introduce yourself!
Why are you always yelling at me about something? Hello, I'm the Nostalgia Critic. I remember it so you don't have to.
Cut! Jack!
What? Let's go back to the 1980s. This decade saw...
Please. Please help me.
Look, you're gonna have to shut the f*** up. Alright, let's try this again. Let's go back to the 1980s. This decade saw an absolute explosion of slasher films. Every time you'd walk into a video store, you'd see about 1 million of them. Mom and Dad decide to take the kids out to rent a nice family movie. You step through the door and what do you see? Boom! Hollywood chainsaw hookers. No matter where you went, you couldn't escape slasher movies. Slasher movies, slasher movies, slasher movies, non-stop slasher movies. It didn't even matter what time of year it was. They made one for every fucking holiday. In fact, they were specifically obsessed with holiday-themed horror movies. Almost as if these hack filmmakers were trying to capitalize off of the success of one holiday-themed horror movie in particular.
If I had a film called Friday the 13th, I could sell that.
And Sean called me up and said, Halloween is making incredible money at the box office, let's rip it off.
That's right, you heard that right from the mouth of the man who made Friday the 13th. The slasher movie takeover of the 1980s was a domino effect arguably set in motion by the success of John Carpenter's Halloween, leading to endless rip-offs which all got endless sequels. Everybody wanted a piece of the cake too. Even movies like Psycho, which came out 2 decades earlier, got sequels during the 1980s. But Psycho wouldn't be the only film during the slasher craze of the 80s to get a sequel over a decade later, because in case you haven't heard, the buzz is back.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. The buzz is back.
Buzz? What does that mean?
You know, buzz, like a chainsaw.
That's really stupid.
You're stupid.
Yeah, you're stupid.
So how did they go about making a sequel to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre that lived up to the disturbing raw nature of the original film? The answer is that they didn't. It's hard enough to capture lightning in a bottle, but to do it twice? Forget that. So, what did we get instead? We got an over-the-top horror comedy that pays homage to everything the original did while simultaneously satirizing it. Look at the poster. Seem familiar? They sold this movie with a Breakfast Club parody. It's ridiculous, it's extremely awkward at times, it has none of the subtlety of the original film, and it's one of my all-time favorites. Tobe Hooper essentially made the bloodbath that the public accused the original of being back in 1974. This is made more obvious in the deleted scenes where the family goes around cutting up everybody in sight. They even had a Joe Bob Briggs cameo. Even as he and his friends are getting killed, he excitedly reviews the experience. Everything is exaggerated to damn near cartoonish extremes, taking everything the original did and amplifying it by a million. Leatherface's skin masks were sewn together in the original, so now his mask is made up of multiple faces with multiple noses and ears, all held together by comically large stitching. Leatherface used a chainsaw in the original, so now he uses a chainsaw. Which is a Poland 5200, by the way, and I'll die on this hill. Leatherface wore a suit to dinner in the original, so now he has an even fancier suit with an even fancier tie. He even has a little flower on there. Looks like he's on his way to the prom. The hitchhiker exhibited psychotic and downright nuts behavior in the original, but in his place we now have his twin brother Chop Top, an over-the-top psycho hippie who drops one-liners. If you thought the original film was crazy, oh, you haven't seen nothing yet. Let's get into today's movie, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Right off the bat, you might be surprised to find out that this is a canon movie. Yes, that canon. Not exactly known for making slasher movies. The movie opens on a narration in a similar manner as the original, but this time the serious tone has been completely dropped. They've also dropped John Larroquette as the narrator, swapped him out for Vern Stearman. And man, you feel John's absence here.
On the afternoon of August 18th, 1973, 5 young people in a Volkswagen van ran out of gas on a farm road in South Texas. 4 of them were never seen again.
Alright, let's talk about this opening narration because there's a lot to unpack. Of course, the narration establishes the events from the first movie, but it gets a few things wrong. First thing the opening narration gets wrong is saying the van from the original was a Volkswagen. It was not. The next strange part of this narration is that Sally Hardisty's name has been changed to Sally Hardesty Enright. Weird. The next thing the narration establishes is that Sally apparently went catatonic after giving her story to the police. So much for a happy ending. But the most baffling thing of all that this narration establishes is that after a month-long manhunt, authorities were apparently never able to find the farmhouse or any evidence that any crime ever took place to begin with. This narration even goes as far as to say that officially on record the Texas Chainsaw Massacre never even happened, which blatantly contradicts the first film, which refers to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre as one of the most bizarre crimes in the annals of American history. The narration concludes by establishing the premise for this movie. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre is an ongoing event that has been reported across the entire state of Texas, and it seems like it's made its way to Dallas. Instead of the mix of disturbing sounds which make up the score of the original film, we now have a more traditional musical score, reminiscing the score of Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. I would describe this film score as being a comedic take on the Alfred Hitchcock Psycho score. I would play you a segment, but YouTube currently has a sniper on me. The movie opens with a couple of good old boys driving down the road while shooting every mailbox and sign in sight.
We are on our way to the biggest party of the world. Yeah!
This movie just nails Texan culture. So, why does the movie open like this? Well, this was commentary on yuppie culture at the time. And what better way to commentate than by satirizing it to the most extreme degree? This is a common theme throughout the entire movie. The most blatant example being from a deleted scene titled Die Yuppie Die. In the deleted scene, a band of yuppies are found rioting in a parking garage before Leatherface picks every last one of them off.
What's a yuppie?
What were yuppies? They were young, rich business people who were so obnoxious it was nauseating. They thought they could get away with anything. Today, we call them influencers. I can see why they cut that scene out. You wouldn't want the entire movie to be nothing except lashing out on the annoying youth culture of the time. That would be so embarrassing. The yuppies call into a local radio station where we are introduced to the rock and roll station host, Stretch, and her partner, LG. LG might be the sweetest man in this entire franchise. Hell, he might be the sweetest man in any horror movie ever.
Hard ass? Me? Well, maybe a semi-hard ass, but I got a soft heart.
The yuppies harass Stretch, but she isn't having it.
Yeah, later, sports. Just hang up, okay?
And credit where credit is due, Stretch is by far the best protagonist in this entire franchise.
Don't call me darling, damn it.
She's spunky, she's relatable, and she strives to make more of herself.
This is my chance to stop playing headbanging music and do something real.
She has an actual personality, whereas most women in this franchise can be narrowed down to just victims.
Oh, shut up!
The two boys continue their antics, shooting signs and even playing chicken with a truck, forcing the poor guy off the road. Did I mention yuppies were obnoxious? Later that night, Stretch continues the show before the two yuppies call her back and continue their harassment.
I don't want to hear it. I want to see it. Bright lights, big titties.
Due to technical issues on their end, Stretch and her partner LG can't end the call.
They gotta hang up.
Meanwhile, the boys encounter the truck they played chicken with before on a bridge. The truck cuts them off before backing up to let them continue on their way. Except the truck doesn't stop backing up. It keeps up the pace with the car, staying alongside it. Even when they drive as fast as they can't seem to lose this truck. You may think the backwards high-speed chase is ridiculous, but this movie hasn't lost me yet. As the backwards high-speed chase continues, a zombie springs to life in the back of the truck and starts attacking the car. And you lost me. What on earth is going on? As the zombie continues its attack on the car, the boys try and shoot it. When they finally land a shot, the zombie turns out to be nothing more than a ruse, having been puppeteered by none other than... Old Man Leatherface. And he would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for you meddling kids and your gun. The attack continues all the while the phone call with Stretch has yet to end, the entire interaction being recorded.
Hang up, hang up, hang up, hang up, hang up, hang up, hang up!
The attack on the two yuppies soon turns fatal, Stretch and LG being forced to hear the boys' final moments. I don't know why she's distressed over it. I'd listen to it on loop.
Just went dead air.
The following morning, authorities overlooked the aftermath of the attack, thinking it was nothing more than an accident. That's when we're introduced to Lieutenant Lefty Enright, uncle of Sally and Franklin from the original film. He has dedicated his life to hunting down the family responsible for what happened, and he knows this was no accident. And of course, the exposition is delivered in the most natural way possible.
You know why I'm here.
Yes, there's something about chainsaw killers, your brother's kids killed. But that was 14 years ago, sir, way down in South Texas.
Boy, why are you telling me about my life? The only problem is that nobody believes Lefty's theory about who is responsible for this carnage.
This is just an accident. Just a couple of wild punks out raising hell.
Lefty has his story put in the newspaper asking for any witness to come forward. A witness soon comes forward. The radio station host Stretch. Hey look, a Toby Hooper cameo. Not only was she a witness, but she has the entire incident recorded.
You need a witness? I'm a witness. This Mercedes, I think I was talking to those kids when it happened. No way was that an accident.
Here's where things get confusing. You know how Lefty just asked for witnesses to come forward, right? Well, now he apparently sees the pursuit as a lost cause and immediately tries to turn Stretch away.
Time for you to go home.
No, wait a minute.
Are we missing something here? That was a full 360. Oh, actually we did miss something. A deleted scene gives necessary context for this scene. I have no idea why it was removed. In the next scene, Stretch and LG meet up for a chili cook-off.
Looky. Built your little fry house.
LG.
You don't deserve him. After the judges have tried all the different kinds of chili entered into the contest, it looks like the winner of this little chili cook-off is about to be announced.
Okay, everybody, hush up. Listen up, y'all.
Why is this scene here? Why are we suddenly focused on this chili cook-off subplot? Why should I care who the winner is? Okay, movie, who's the winner of the chili cook-off?
Drayton Sawyer!
Oh my god, they're reading people. Not me though. Say fellas, you think you could pass me some ketchup?
Oh, yeah. I always keep a bottle of ketchup in my handy ketchup pocket. You want to try it on head cheese?
What is wrong with you exactly?
You are a bad person, and you should feel bad. This is also the first movie to give these characters names. Yeah, that's right, they never actually had names in the original film. The cook is named Drayton, the hitchhiker is named Nubbins, that's his body by the way, and Leatherface is named Baba. And what's their last name? Sawyer. Their last name is Sawyer. Get it? We cut to a chainsaw store with a marching band parade happening in the background. Fun fact, that parade wasn't scripted. It was just happening in the background and they decided to leave it in the movie. Lefty starts trying out chainsaws, seeing which one suits him best. The store owner has the greatest reaction I've ever seen.
Banana.
Stretch makes her way back to the radio station to find Lefty there waiting for her, and he has a big request. He wants her to play the boys being killed on the air in order to lure the killers out.
I need your help, Missy.
Lefty has gone from wanting nothing to do with her to needing her desperately. They do not interact in between those two scenes. Stretch complies with Lefty's request and plays the killings on the radio.
So here's a special request we're doing this afternoon and tonight. You steady listeners know we're playing this every hour. This is for Lefty.
Which alerts the Sawyer boys who call the oldest brother Drayton, who is less than pleased that they let themselves get caught.
That's fair, dude. You've done it again! You cool shit! You white cracker! You'll be the death of me yet!
Later that night at the radio station, Stretch awaits Lefty's arrival. It seems like someone is there, but she soon learns it sure as hell ain't Lefty.
I wanna buy some radio ad time.
This is our introduction to Chop Top, played by Bill Moseley. Chop Top is the twin brother of the hitchhiker Nubbins from the original film. Chop Top was serving in Vietnam during the events of the first movie. He's called Chop Top because he suffered a head wound in Vietnam that resulted in him getting a metal plate implanted in his head. The metal plate is crudely exposed because he constantly picks at it with a coat hanger that he burns with a lighter. The money he got from his injury is also the cause of the Sawyer family's newfound wealth in this film.
Real cash money.
Chop Top makes this movie solely because of Bill Moseley's performance.
Oh, man!
Bill Moseley was actually discovered because he played the hitchhiker in a parody of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre titled The Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Hey, that's great, honey. We should celebrate with some head cheese.
The role was actually offered to Ed Neal from the original, but he turned down the offer because he said filming the first movie was worse than his experience in Vietnam. Chop Top asks Stretch to give him a tour of the place, so she gives him the briefest one she can before sending him on his way. Just when it seems like he's about to leave, Chop Top confronts Stretch on the recording of the murder she played earlier that night.
That Lefty request record?
He begins to close in on her when Leatherface suddenly comes out of nowhere, accidentally knocking Chop Top's wig off and leaving a dent in his plate.
Look what you did to my Sonny Bono wig, dude!
I know you're upset about losing your wig, but honey, it was doing you no favors. Stretch runs away and locks herself in the room at the top of the stairs. Fun fact, that sliding door is actually the very door used in the original film. I think I remember hearing that somewhere anyway. Something you might have noticed about Leatherface in this movie is that little dance he does every time he brings out his chainsaw. This happens throughout the entirety of the movie and it's never explained why. This is the only movie in which Leatherface does this and it's hilarious. It looks like LG has come back to the radio station, oblivious to the chaos happening inside. He makes his way up the stairs before noticing Chop Top.
Hey!
LG calls the intruder out, but Chop Top hits him with this legendary comeback.
Hey, lick my plate, you dog dick!
Lefty is shoved over the stairs by Leatherface, allowing for Chop Top to attack him with a hammer.
Time for incoming mail!
You deserved better, LG. Godspeed, you gentle soul. I would have married you in a heartbeat. Eventually, Leatherface breaks his way into the room Stretch locked herself in, and we get our first good look at this version of Leatherface. Sadly, Gunnar Hansen doesn't play the role of Leatherface this time around, but his grounded approach to the character might have been out of place in this wacky movie. Instead, Leatherface is played by... Oh, alright, well this is where things get a little complicated because the movie credits Bill Johnson for playing Leatherface with Bob Elmore doing the stunts. Well, apparently the stunts included every scene in which Leatherface lifts a chainsaw. According to Bob Elmore, he played him for the majority of the movie, with Bill Johnson only getting 2 close-ups. But enough about the actors who played him, let's talk about Leatherface's design. Leatherface is a much more expressive character in this movie, his mask having large eye openings allowing the audience to see what emotions he's conveying. This movie brought on special effects legend Tom Savini. Tom brought his own spin to the iconic character in this movie, and there are details that you might have missed, some of which were asked to be included by Tobe Hooper, such as multiple noses and ears. For example, did you notice that Leatherface's mask only covers his face and is tied on with leather laces instead of being an overhead mask? Also, look closely at his hair. It's dark brown as usual, but there are hints of blonde in there. Peculiar, huh? Leatherface's teeth are another good example. Leatherface's teeth in the original were small and intentionally similar to a baby's, alluding to the fact that he was underdeveloped. This time around, his teeth are much larger and overlap one another, almost like a teenager who hasn't had braces yet. This might actually be an intentional change, as a lot of people interpret this movie as showing Leatherface's character transitioning from child to teenager, at least mentally. Another small detail you might not have noticed is Leatherface now having sores and deformities on his lips and around his mouth. He was also given sunken-in eyes with dark circles around them. This is a lot more clear in the behind-the-scenes footage. Tom Savini really wanted to convey just how disgusting of a lifestyle the Sawyers lived, and I think he did exactly that. With all that said, let's get back into the movie. Leatherface seemingly gets his chainsaw stuck in a drink cooler, but as the ice and water is sprayed all over Stretch, it seems like Leatherface might not be so stuck after all. What follows is one of the most awkward scenes in a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie that I've ever seen. Okay, so, Stretch sees that Leatherface is excited by her, so she decides to use that to her advantage. By coming on to him. So, Leatherface starts stroking his chainsaw up her leg, all the while she encourages him, and they both seem really excited by it, and it's really awkward. This is one of those scenes you dread your parents walking in on. Crap, Mom's home! There's even a moment in the scene where you're led to believe Leatherface might even be, reaching for something down there, if you know what I mean. Luckily, what Leatherface was reaching for down there was only the pull cord of his chainsaw. Oh, thank God. It seems like Leatherface can't bring himself to kill the woman he loves, so he does this instead. Dude, this movie is on crack. After all that, Leatherface makes his way back down to Chop Top, misleading him to believe he killed the radio TJ.
She was my favorite, but she knew. And now, nobody knows.
And because she's so thankful to be alive, Stretch moves far away from Texas and changes her name legally, and she lived happily ever after. Oh, sorry, that's what a sensible person would do. She follows them! Stretch follows them to a closed-down theme park where the Sawyer family is now operating from. She then notices that she's being followed herself, so she starts running away from the approaching car, believing she's being chased by one of the family members. But the man steps out of the car, revealing himself to be Lefty. Before the two can catch up, the ground gives away under Stretch's feet, and Lefty rushes over to save her. The following exchange makes very little sense. Lefty reveals that he used Stretch to lead him to the family's hideout, and that's why he didn't meet Stretch at the radio station.
Where were you? I had to do it. Damn, I used you, girl.
But what if she didn't follow them, you idiot? What if she did the sensible thing and ran far away and went to the authorities? Hell, what if she died? That's the most likely outcome of the situation, being a woman on her own, dealing with two killers.
I had to do it.
You want me to fix your little plan? Hey, how about we put some officers up at the radio station? The host is about to be attacked. We'll park the cars nearby as to not tip the attackers off. There, I fixed your plan! How can I get behind a hero who can't make his mind up on if he wants to catch the killers or not? Who intentionally endangers innocent people in order to use them?
I had to do it.
And who uses no logic in his decision-making? Lefty, you have the potential to be such a great hero, but it's so hard to get behind somebody who doesn't make any logical decisions. Stretch falls down into the abandoned theme park, prompting Lefty to ready his chainsaws and go in after her. Look at his bandoliers loaded with spare chainsaw chains. Stretch makes her way deeper into the theme park and hides just out of view of the Sawyer family while Leatherface is skinning poor LG. Stretch is dumb enough to knock something over, giving her location away to Leatherface, who still can't bring himself to kill her.
No good. No good.
A love story as old as time. A woman and a man who can't bring himself to kill her despite everything. Leatherface, wanting to share his hobbies with the woman he loves, decides to put LG's face over hers. He even tops off her new look with his hat before leading a romantic dance. I'm gonna play a clip from the last episode so I don't have to repeat myself. Leatherface is adorable, regardless of how horrifying he is. Thanks, Jack. After tying Stretch up, Leatherface leaves the room, and to Stretch's surprise, it looks like LG wasn't quite dead after all. You just can't keep a good guy down.
You quoted a completely different franchise.
What?
That's Child's Play 3, moron.
Hey! He can quote whatever horror movie he wants. They're all the same anyway.
Well, I don't know if I'd say that.
Right. Because all the other ones suck, and our franchise is flawless. Right. I'll stop. I don't want to interrupt a genius at work.
So where was I? In LG's final moments, he consoles Stretch and tells her not to be afraid.
Don't be scared, darling.
He uses a nearby knife to cut Stretch free before collapsing. With LG's final breath, Stretch reunites him with his own face. With her newfound freedom, Stretch runs further into the theme park looking for a way out, occasionally running into the family.
You idiots! You vultures have balls, you both big bitches! Look what your brother's done now! You coot shit!
Also, if the family's comedic routine seems familiar, allow me to refresh your memory.
You stay out of this. And you too.
Meanwhile, it seems like Lefty isn't actually too concerned with Stretch's well-being, as he's currently too busy cutting down all the theme park support beams. Wow, what a hero. At least Dennis Hopper is fun to watch. Between him and Bill Moseley, you can't watch this movie and be bored. Drayton chews out his younger brothers as he assumes they're the ones responsible for all the property damage.
And this is what happened.
Jim Cedow is the only returning actor from the original film.
You can't stand the heat. Get out of the damn kitchen, huh?
Jim delivers a great performance here. He totally sells an over-the-top version of his original character, and it looks like he's having a lot of fun, too.
Let's go! Eat and run! Eat and run! There's a lot of hungry football fans to feed. Hurry it up!
In fact, all the actors do. Just look at these behind-the-scenes photos. While on his murder spree of support beams, Lefty comes across something he wasn't expecting. The body of his nephew Franklin, who has apparently stayed in his wheelchair since 1973. I actually think we have a couple of plot holes, a couple of cinema sins, if you will. In the original movie, you can see Franklin's wheelchair neatly folded in the background of this scene. The second cinema sin is that Franklin's flashlight was clearly dropped in the woods.
Isn't it possible that Franklin's body was put in the wheelchair and posed like the other corpses?
No, it was a cinema sin.
Couldn't they have just put the flashlight back in his hand?
No, it was a cinema sin.
Yeah, but...
No, it was a cinema sin.
But...
Nope.
But...
Nope, cinema sin.
But as
It was a cinema sin.
Would you stop doing that? That is so annoying.
I agree. Stretch continues to run through the theme park until Leatherface eventually catches up with her. And of course, they partake in their classic rom-com banter.
Let's talk about it! Okay, what, are you pissed off? What about me? Listen, this is not gonna work out.
Leatherface's brothers soon find the couple, realizing that Leatherface never finished the task of killing Stretch at the radio station. It doesn't take them long to figure out what's going on, so Drayton gives Leatherface an ultimatum. Sex or the saw.
You got one choice, boy. Sex or the saw.
Sex or the saw? Didn't we see sex with a saw earlier? Drayton tells Leatherface just to wait until Grandpa hears about what has transpired here and... Wait, Grandpa's alive? How? Well, like I was saying, Drayton tells Leatherface to wait until Grandpa hears about what has transpired here, prompting Leatherface to respond like this. Me too, Leatherface. Me too. Chop Top closes in on Stretch and begins counting down to the moment he plans to knock her out.
And scream!
Why did they cut that scene so late? Stretch soon wakes up and finds herself at the end of a long dinner table surrounded by violent psychopaths. Hey, this is just like that one movie. Star Trek 6, that's the one. Before too long, the Sawyer boys will in Grandpa, who is looking much younger somehow. You see, that's what makes the original film so special. There's absolutely nothing wrong with Tom Savini's work, but it's clearly the work of a special effects artist. The work of Dr. W.E. Barnes is simply unmatched. This isn't even the only time one of the sequels have included Grandpa, and no matter how good the makeup is, it never holds a candle to the original. Okay, they're setting up a rehash of the original ending. Let's get on with it. Okay, so in a direct parallel to the first film, Stretch is screaming hysterically while she's tied up at the end of the dinner table until she's eventually brought over for Grandpa to finish the job. So she's just gonna escape just like Sally, right? Leading to a big chase scene just like the first movie? Alright, well Grandpa's about to finish off Stretch and... Wait a minute. What's that singing? No. It couldn't be.
We shall come rejoicing, bringing in the sheep.
No! They're just teasing me. There's no way they would actually go with an ending so awesome.
Boys, boys, boys.
What follows is the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. A motherfucking chainsaw battle. Stretch takes her chance to run away while Lefty and Leatherface have the most epic battle ever fought on screen. We are talking full frontal chainsaw on chainsaw action. A legendary battle unfolds as a vengeance-driven Lefty collides chainsaws with Leatherface. Sparks light the room with each metallic clash. Lefty's eyes burn with righteous fury as they glare into the soul of the killer. The chainsaws roar into the night in a symphony of violence, each strike resonating with bone-rattling intensity. The room becomes filled with the sounds of metal on metal punctuated by the agonized screams of machinery until Lefty eventually gets the upper hand and shoves his chainsaw right through Leatherface's gut. But Leatherface doesn't give up that easily, continuing to fight with all he has. Meanwhile, Drayton hides under the table, resorting to retrieving a grenade from Nubbin's lifeless body. But just then the epicness of what's happening causes Grandpa to stand to his feet, because now he wants a piece of the action. Grandpa throws a hammer with all his might at Lefty, but he misses his target and knocks Leatherface's lights out, causing him to fall on top of the table. Leatherface's mighty fall bashes Drayton's head, causing him to drop the grenade. Lefty lets out a warrior's cry moments before the grenade takes them all out in a blaze of glory. That is by far the coolest thing ever captured on film. Lefty, I had my doubts about you, but you came f***ing through in the end. You came through, Lefty. We catch back up with Stretch, who is being pursued by Chop Top, chasing her all the way to the top of the theme park where she comes face to face with Grandma in Chainsaw Heaven. No, I'm not joking, that's what they call it.
Oh, great grandma in Chainsaw Heaven. Get in, girl. Get in now.
Luckily, Grandma happens to be holding a chainsaw which Stretch grabs hold of and desperately tries to start. Come on, Stretch, you can do it. Stretch finally gets the chainsaw started and proceeds to slice Chop Top up and sends him down to his doom. The movie ends on a shot of a victorious and battle-hardened Stretch swinging the chainsaw through the air in a direct parallel to the ending of the original film before cutting to black. So what are my thoughts on this movie? Yeah, I still love it. How can I not love something as awesome as the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, even with its flaws? This movie is everything amazing about the slasher craze of the 1980s. It's like having a window back in time. Does it hold up to the original? Not even close. It's baffling to me that it even shares a title with it. But the two should never be compared. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 is fun, plain and simple, and that's okay. It's not pretending to be anything more than what it is. It brought us so many iconic moments and characters that are still acknowledged as being integral to the Chainsaw franchise to this very day. This movie brought us Chop Top, Stretch, Lefty, and the one closest to my heart, LG. I know people who still quote this movie on a regular basis. It's that memorable. I'm glad this movie didn't try to take itself too seriously. I'm thankful that they didn't try to recreate the original. That would have made this a generic sequel lost to time, and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 is anything but generic.
The Saw is family. It's family.
Hey, we're just getting started.
Huh, Chainsaw 3, huh? I actually haven't seen this one in a while. I may need to watch it again to refresh my memory. I'll see you soon, folks.
So who are you talking to exactly?